everyone. This is James Templeton with UNI KEY Health. I'm here with my daughter, Carol Templeton.
Hey, everybody.
And, you know, we love coming directly to you through these interviews because we want to educate you. We want you to know the things that we have learned over the past 30 years. So I hope that these are really helpful for you. And today, you know, Carol, I was thinking maybe we should talk a little bit about parasites.
Yes.
You know, since this is our kind of our foundational products, this is what we started UNI KEY over 30 years ago, you know, with parasite products. And I know, you know, that parasites is a big problem. I know that you get a lot of calls, your team gets a lot of calls about people that have symptoms of parasites and the things like that. Tell people a little bit about some of the symptoms that people might have if they have parasites, because people say parasites, my dog had parasites, or my horses, or my cows, or whatever they have, and tell people what they might feel like if they have parasites.
Yeah. So first of all, I think nobody likes to think about the idea of having parasites. It's just gross, right? Like nobody wants to think about it, but I think we're very naive to think that, oh, my pets can have parasites. They can have parasites in third world countries, but oh no, we can't have parasites here as humans in the United States. And I think obviously that's very wrong. I think we probably all have parasites or have parasites at some point throughout our lives, and probably multiple times throughout our lives. I would imagine that probably most people out there have some sort of parasite at any given time going on in their body.
What are the symptoms?
Yeah, so symptoms, like if you're having any kind of digestive distress, I mean, if you're having gas and you're having diarrhea, or you're constipated, or you're having trouble losing weight or gaining weight, if you're dealing with a lot of like food intolerances and inability to tolerate certain foods, even environmental allergies, dark circles under your eyes, headaches, abdominal pain, you know, obviously GI distress, there's a very strong likelihood that parasites are at least involved in that.
Right.
But then it can also, they call parasites kind of the great masqueraders, because as you know, they can masquerade as like a million different things, right?
Yeah, and you know, the one thing that a lot of people get when they have parasites, and we're not saying that everybody that has these symptoms has parasites, because we have no idea. I mean, we have no idea. There's ways to determine this, but a lot of the underlying issues that people have are started with a parasitic infestation.
Yes.
And the thing about it is that you hear these people talk about, oh, I have these aches and pains, and what they call fibromyalgia. You know, that's a good word for you know, aches and pains in your back and your muscles, and, you know, fibromyalgia. And I'm sure a lot of people have had that kind of these symptoms. And parasites can create fibromyalgia. And you can talk to any parasitologist in the world. There's not a lot of them around in this country. And I mean, there used to be a few here and there, and there's not a whole lot. But as you know, you get a lot of calls from people that complain about, you know, well, I have this or I have that. And, you know, last week we talked about Candida and yeast. And we talked about the symptoms of Candida, yeast overgrowth, fungus in the body. A lot of these symptoms are very similar. But, you know, as you know, can you tell people a little bit more? Just let's go over what the symptoms of Candida are. Just, you know, if they missed that video, just you know, so that they don't say, well, that's what you told us that you had, you know, with Candida. But can you go over that real quick?
Yeah. And there, you know, obviously there can be crossover between, you know, bloating and things like that. Candida albicans is a fungus, versus when we talk about parasites, we're talking about worms, and we're talking about microscopic like parasites like amoebas, giardias, like protozoa type organisms. So just to clarify, but Candida can cause, what we find a lot with Candida is a lot of sugar cravings. I mean, you can still have that from parasites too.
Yes, you can.
But really just, it's all related because
Mhm.
it's imbalance in your gut. There's creatures and critters and bacteria and organisms in there that do not belong, that are not helpful to you, that
Mhm.
are harmful to your health. And ultimately there is some crossover because of that. Yeast and Candida, though, like I said, we do see more of the sugar cravings, and we see the bloating and gas a lot of bloating with yeast. And people get skin rashes, breakouts.
Mhm.
That's pretty common with Candida as well.
Yes.
Also like allergies, kind of congestion and drainage and stuff like that too is pretty common with yeast.
You know, the thing about parasites in yeast and fungus kind of goes hand in hand.
Yes.
The parasites love an environment that's got, you know, a lot of Candida in it, and it's got a lot of yeast, and low on good bacteria, low on the very important bacteria, which is very important for our immune system. And when you have parasites in your system, you know, a lot of people, like, no matter what you do, no matter what you eat, it's just it just like nothing agrees with you. It upsets your stomach, your gut. You feel you know, just like sensitive to foods, maybe allergic to foods. You just don't feel good. It affects your energy. It affects your moods. Can make you feel depressed. It can make you feel anxious. It can make you feel you know, like you know, life isn't so great after all. Sometimes it can, I mean, these things are not healthy to have in your system. Now, you know, being a guy that used to have cows and cattle, cows, you know, and you know, you learn how important it is to get rid of parasites, because cattle, especially in Texas, or, you know, our dogs, our small animals have parasites more than some areas, because it's warm a lot, and they're, you know, they're digging around in the soil, and they're who knows what they're doing, you know. And you know, every year or once or twice a year we would deworm our cattle, and you know, we used a paste dewormer, and you know, that was very helpful. But you know, with animals, I know for a fact that when I had several dogs and several cats, every time I went to the veterinarian, he would say, well, we got a little roundworm here, we got a little bit of this and a little bit of that. So he would deworm them, and then I'd, you know, bring them back in, you know, a year or whatever. But you know, you'd bring these animals back, but they always had it. And I always used to wonder, you know, later on when I got to be a little more interested in health, basically because of my own condition. And I learned that when, you know, like, if you're looking at underlying causes of health and a lowered immune system, then why wouldn't we have parasites? You know, all these animals have parasites, and why wouldn't we have, you know, these parasites? And you know, if you go to the vet, and I mean, people are working in the soil, or maybe some of us have gardens, flower beds. We're eating raw vegetables, and the people that are picking your vegetables, the people that are cooking your foods, you know, that sometimes you go to restaurants. Well, if you're eating a raw salad, for example, and somebody has parasites, maybe they have larvae or eggs under their nails, and they're back there, you know, they should be probably wearing some kind of protective gloves, but you know, you don't always know that. You don't know what's going on in the kitchen a lot of times in restaurants, or in, you know, you don't know anything, you know. So you really have to protect yourself and understand that this can happen to you just like it did to your pets. And if you've got pets, you want to make sure that you deworm these pets on a regular basis, because a lot of people say, oh, my dog's in the house all the time, but he's probably going in the backyard, and he's probably doing this and doing that, and you know, maybe he's around other dogs and animals. So it's very easily you know, to pick up parasites from your animals, and parasites can be more than just worms, more than the kind of parasites you can see with your eye, because there's also these microscopic parasites like what we call protozoa, one-celled organisms. And these one-celled organisms are like amoeba, giardia, blastocystis is something that you can get that's almost looks like yeast under the microscope, very similar to Candida in many cases. But these are things that people get. They get these from water. They get them from, water. A lot of it's from water on salads, washed, unfiltered water, from people that have amoeba in their system. The stuff you get when you travel to foreign countries that used to be called like turista or whatever they called it. But we're getting that in this country just as much as anywhere else almost nowadays. And, I learned, Carol, from one of my original teachers, the importance of detoxifying parasites on at least an annual basis, because we all are getting these things. And this was Dr. Hazel Parcells, which was passed away at the age of 106. And she was brilliant, and she had this unbelievable, knowledge about health and nutrition. And I've never seen anybody to this day that was as sharp as she was and knew as much as she did. Ann Louise Gittleman was one of her first students, and was one of her most successful students, and learned from her and was motivated by her to become a nutritionist and do the things that she's gone on to do. And Ann Louise always taught me from the day I met her how important parasites was. I actually met her at a parasite lecture she was giving. So, I from day one, I learned about the parasites. And as I talk about in my book, and when I tell my story about how I overcame stage 4 melanoma, and I eventually discovered the subject of parasites through Ann Louise, and eventually learned that I too had parasites, and not a few, a lot of parasites, from a world-renowned parasitologist, Dr. Herman Bueno. So Dr. Bueno was brilliant, and Dr. Bueno was the kind of the guy, and he was in New York City. So he always told me that he had never seen a case of cancer or AIDS. Back then, AIDS was kind of really getting started, that did not have some kind of parasitic involvement. So I just want to encourage people to listen to this, to understand that some of these things that's going on in their system could very well be a parasite issue. And parasites are one of the most immunosuppressive things you can have in your body. So it's very important. And at UNI KEY, as Carol can tell us here in a second, we do parasite testing. A lot of people just, want to do a cleanse, and they want to get rid of these things if they have them on an annual or even biannual, basis. But tell us a little bit about the parasite testing, Carol, and the things that we offer for people that want to see something, clinically. And sometimes you can get tested, as you know, and not find a parasite. Doesn't mean you don't have them, because they're hard to detect sometimes.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about what we offer here at UNI KEY.
Absolutely. So we offer 2 different types of testing. We have a complete expanded GI panel, and that is a full GI panel. That's a great test if you've got unresolved GI issues and you don't really know what the culprit is, because that test takes it takes a couple of different stool samples and saliva samples as well. And then what it does is it tests for bacteria like H. pylori, C. diff, Candida, fungus, and it also tests for parasites like protozoa, worms, which is things like Giardia, blastocystis, roundworm, toxoplasmosis, trichinella, tapeworm, all the big heavy hitters. And then it also tests for food sensitivities. So whether you're having an issue with gluten, milk, eggs, soy. And then also probably one of the most important things is the intestinal function markers. So it gives you an idea of your immune system and what's going on. Is there some sort of underlying infection in the gut? How are your pancreatic enzymes? How's your colon inflammation? Do you have an inflammation issue going on? Is there blood in your stool? What's your stool pH look like? So that is a really good kind of comprehensive test.
Good place to start.
Yes, exactly. So if you've got underlying issues, that test is a good place to start. And then we also have a nutritionist on staff who not only works with Ann Louise to put together recommended lifestyle and supplement and diet changes to go with your results, but also will have a 30-minute consult with you as part of the testing fee to help you figure out, understand the results and figure out what is going to work for you as far as changes and modifications that you need to make in order to address these issues. Now, we also offer a scaled down parasite flexi test. It is less expensive and it does only test for the parasites and bacteria. Now, it doesn't test for the intestinal function markers. And as my dad mentioned before, one thing that is parasites are notoriously hard to find in testing sometimes. So one thing we do recommend is that you go ahead and order the cleanse, even just the Verma Plus product, which I have here, or the duo of the Parakeet and the Verma Plus. And we recommend taking it for 4 or 5 days first before you collect your samples. And that will help sometimes kind of pull some things out and help you to find more things in your sample. Sometimes, depending on parasites' life cycles, their egg laying cycles and everything, it can be hard, even if you have a parasite, to detect it on a test, which is obviously frustrating when you're trying to figure out what's going on. So that is one reason why we do recommend doing the full expanded GI panel test, because it does give you more information of a bigger picture. Even if parasites aren't found, you can still see that there is something going on as far as, an infection or what have you. And then we also sometimes recommend for people just to do the cleanse. I mean, I think everybody can benefit from a cleanse, don't you think?
Oh yeah. I mean, I do it every year and, I feel pretty good all the time. And, and I watch if my digestion is a little off, then it's got to be one thing or another. And, it's like we talked about last video, we talked about the YC cleanse, and that's for Candida. Well, that's something I take every day, pretty much every day, because that helps get rid of that bloat, helps get rid of the Candida. And I take the Flora Key that we have with that, not with it at the same time. And you can listen to that video, but we explain that pretty well. But that's something, that you probably should look at doing, because your gut health is 80% of your immunity. So a lot of these people that get all these different things, these sicknesses and, everything, the immune system is hard at work, but it just gets exhausted, can't do its job anymore a lot of times, or it's overworked. And, it's so important because we don't want to get all these things that come around all the time. And the other thing that's kind of really important to understand that, as Carol said, we have our Verma Plus and our Parakeet formulas. These are products that I created many years ago, along with Ann Louise Gittleman's help. We came up with these. It kind of works as a 1-2 punch a little bit. And, we have it in a kit that makes it a little more convenient. And also it's a discounted price that has the Verma Plus, the Parakeet and the Flora Key. And that's something you want to check out. And that's something that we've offered for quite a few years. And tell us about that, Carol.
Yeah, so this is our trio of products. So these two products here, the Para Key and the Verma Plus, are designed to kind of work together to target all different types of organisms. And they have a number of herbs in them that are time tested, sort of like ancient healing wisdom, as far as have been used for centuries to address these issues. So the Para-Key specifically, it's the capsules here. It's got the grapefruit seed extract, it's got pomegranate, cranberry concentrate, peppermint, sweet wormwood are just some of the ingredients in that one. Like I said, all herbal ingredients. And then we also have the Verma Plus, which is a tincture. You put it in water. It's a little strong, kind of like whiskey, but it's got the bitter herbs in there, and it is very effective. It's got the black.
Very good. Yeah.
Yeah. It's got the butternut, male fern, orange pill, and centuary. And so together, there's some overlap, but together you kind of get the full package of all of the herbs.
And the thing about it is, when you're doing the Verma Plus, always use water. You never just do the droppers, because the droppers, it's very strong. And I like it. It's bitter and it's kind of strong. It's good for the liver, and it's good to help detoxify. But there are certain herbs in here, like butternut, that is specifically for pinworms. And pinworms are something that people get, especially children, a lot, and can be passed on, to the whole family. And it's really a big deal that people don't talk about this. Nobody's talking about this the way they should. And this, like I said, we've started UNI KEY based on this particular subject and these products, but 30 plus years ago. But it's so important. And there's another one, a Centauri, in here, and that's something that's very important for eliminating any kind of hookworms, tapeworms that have these hooks and suckers that are very hard to get. It's hard to release them. Sometimes they're in your system, up in your intestinal tract, maybe into other parts of the body. They can eventually end up in different areas of the body, but they're hard to get out of there. And these herbs basically help to release these parasites and down into your digestive tract so that you can eliminate these. So that's something we've learned and discovered and researched, and learned a lot from, like, my original teacher, learned from other parasitologists. This isn't something we just came up with overnight, but it was something that we felt was so important to get to the root of a lot of the health issues. Because when you have good health, it's because everything's working kind of as a well-oiled machine. And, when there's something going on that's affecting your immunity, your digestion, and like parasites can do. And if you're having a hard time either losing weight or gaining weight, then you really have to look at that. And if you have no energy and you're exhausted and like Carol said earlier, with all these symptoms, you really want to look at this. It's very important. And a lot of you have a hard time losing weight. And we have had unbelievable stories and testimonials over the years with these products and this whole detox system. And some people just can't lose weight no matter what they do, or maybe they lose half their weight but can't get rid of the rest of it. And a lot of times it could be something as simple as a parasite issue. And we've done a lot of different things over the years with this, and it's not something we talk a lot about. We should talk more about it, because it does get to the root of a lot of things, a lot of these issues, and your body can't absorb when it's got parasites. So we want to get rid of these parasites so we can absorb these nutritional nutrients that we need, and absorb the nutrients from the diet that we're eating, and the supplements that we take, and to feel as good as we should feel. And that's once and for all. we need to do that. We owe it to ourselves. We owe it to our families, to be strong and to be vital and have the best health that we can possibly have. But Carol, tell us a little bit about some of the testimonials, especially, that the article that came out in First for Women, I believe, or Women's World, one of the magazines, back a few years ago, about one of our clients that lost so much weight using the parasite products that we have.
Yeah, so there was an article that was in First for Women, and it was why the cover was why are parasites making you fat? And it was a huge hit, and it featured a woman in the article, and she lost 100 pounds by getting rid of parasites, so that she couldn't lose weight before that and had trouble. And she got rid of her parasites and then was able to, lose weight by following, she wasn't just eating whatever she wanted. She was eating a healthy diet, but prior she wasn't able to lose weight even on a healthy diet. So this was what she needed to do to sort of detoxify her system in order to be able to find weight loss success. And we've heard from other people that have told us the same thing.
I mean, hundreds of people over the years, or maybe thousands. I mean, it's not two or three,
part
it's
of that
a lot.
is that it also, some people are having cravings and having they're tired and other issues that make it really hard for them to stay on a diet. And then some people's metabolism is affected because of the parasites and the toll that it's taking on them. But we have a lot of great reviews. One of the things people really like about it is that they feel like these are gentle products compared to some of the other options that are out there. Some of the medications and some of the other things can be very hard on your system and can be a challenge to get through. And so we've had a number of comments from people that feel like it's very doable, it's affordable, it's simple to follow. We give you a guideline. We email you a guideline when you order the kit. So you take these 2 products for 2 weeks, you take 5 days off, then you start up another cycle, we tell you, and then you add in the probiotic as well after a little bit at the beginning. And then the other thing that we tell you to do too is to avoid certain foods and to emphasize certain foods. We don't give you a strict diet plan you have to follow, but we do tell you, you want to avoid these foods. These foods are not helpful. These are things that are feeding the parasites. So you're not wanting to feed the parasites when you're wanting to get rid of them. So that means you're going to avoid sugar and fruit and things like that for that first couple of weeks. We do also emphasize that you have more cooked foods and foods that are soothing to your GI tract while you're going through the process. And then we also give you anti-parasitic foods like pumpkin seeds and foods like that have properties to help cleanse as well. So we give you a very easy to follow protocol and schedule that makes it simple. And a lot of people really do well on this cleanse and have great results. And I mean, ultimately, whether you're getting rid of parasites or yeast or fungus or just a lot of extra waste in there, I mean, it can't be good to have all of that stuff in your gut that, you need to get rid of and flush it out. So that's what's so great about this product. And I think it's something that we can all do, once, twice, 3 times a year, just to keep your system primed and functioning optimally and feeling good. Here's an example. 1 month on the colon cleansing kit and my brain fog lifted. I also lost weight for a total of 17 pounds in a month doing the cleanse.
Wow.
And got rid of her brain fog. She says it's like a night and day difference. That's Tiff.
That's great.
Linda says this is the best GI cleanse I've ever experienced in my life. Gentle, easy, and effective. Veronica said that she was saying today starts week 3. It's been miraculous. During week 1, my congestion cleared up along with my asthma and shortness of breath. And I lost 6 pounds all in the first week. Week 2, lost 7 more pounds, all without being hungry or feeling deprived. My blood sugars also look good. Had to cut way back on my insulin. One day I felt a little nauseous. Felt like something needed to come out after she went to the bathroom. She wasn't nauseous anymore. So felt like that she had really cleansed, gotten rid of things. And then looking forward to the next 2 weeks. Thank you for this life-changing program. So, I mean, that's pretty good just for 2 weeks. We have people, a lot of people have come back from a trip and they call us up and they, have an issue. We even have had people from, I remember this from years back, people back on Survivor that were on the Survivor show that called us and did this afterward because they caught something on the Survivor show. So,
well, it's a good idea to take some of these herbs with you when you're going on a trip, whether you're going to somewhere in, Mexico, or you're going to, India, or some of these countries, that people travel to. You can go anywhere. It's just good to take. It's not just those countries. It's a lot of countries, but there's certain countries are probably a little more prevalent. The parasites are more prevalent, but the thing is, it's always good to have these in your medicine cabinet, also to take with you on a trip, because if you're in the mountains and maybe you're having a lot of fun and you're on a week or two vacation, and let's say you're up in the high mountains of Colorado or somewhere, and you're where it's cooler in the summer, and you're up there enjoying yourself. I mean, this has happened to me before. And you go in a restaurant and you're eating a raw salad, and you go out in your car, and you're all of a sudden are on the way, 30 minutes later or whatever, you start to get really an upset stomach. You start to get very loose really quick. I mean, I'm talking, watery, loose. And you get into the issue of giardia a lot of times, because giardia is actually very prevalent in the mountains, in the streams, in the water, in the wells. It's a problem in places like Alaska. People up there drink glacier water and things like that, but it's still, there's a lot of giardia. Giardia will make you feel just rotten and awful real quick. Aches, pains, diarrhea. It's really, really something that you don't want to get, but you can knock this out in most cases, knock out the symptoms. It might take a while, but if you just pick these things up, you usually can knock it out a lot quicker. Get the symptoms down to where you can feel better and enjoy the rest of your trip. But I made the mistake of going up in the mountains and not having it with me. And, I used to go up in the mountains a lot, hiking and backpacking and things like that. And, I didn't know about this, but after I knew about it one time, I forgot. And I got into a kind of a little mess. I had to drive all the way back when I was living in Santa Fe, New Mexico. Drove back quite a ways from the middle of Colorado back, just because, I was miserable. And I got home and got my remedies, and a couple of days later felt a lot better. So, it's just, these herbs have been used for many generations to help fight off parasite infections and infestations, and used by experts. It's something that we hear about. It's not us just saying it. It's all these testimonials of people. You can read about these herbs that are in these products. Check it out on our site, unikeyhealth.com. You'll see everything about it. It's works very well for most people. It's gentle, but seems to be very effective for people. And I think that you will see that, especially if you've got any of these symptoms, I recommend people just giving it a shot, just as a cleanse, because, I wouldn't want to bet a lot against that. Most of us have something, from my work with the blood work, the microscope that I have from my research has shown over the years that I would say more than half of the people have something going on based on the risk factors that I see in the blood. So, it's not me seeing an actual parasite, but you could, do the testing that we offer, which is very helpful. You can, just know that if you've got these symptoms going on in your digestive tract and your gut, there's something there. So anyway, we just think that it's a way to get to the bottom of things. Start from the bottom, clean up, clean house, then rebuild. And that's the key. And that's what my teacher taught us. That's what Ann Louise Gittleman has taught us. That's what Dr. Herman Bueno taught us. People that are parasite experts know that what we're talking about is the first thing people should be looking at. So it's just one of those things, and we really like to let you know about things we think are important for you to know about, and check it out again. And the other thing that a lot of people use after a parasite cleanse, and I'll just throw this out real quick because we'll get into this later, but they use the Super GI cleanse, and we've talked about that before. But the Super GI cleanse just helps keep things moving. There's some anti-parasitic herbs in there also, a lot of fiber, and this helps people to eliminate better on a regular basis. And it's gentle and effective, and it's something that you're going to love if you haven't taken it before. I think it's the best product formula I've ever created. But this is not something we just created here a year or two ago. It's just something we've had for a long time, and we've had really great results with that. And that's something that will help kind of deter these parasites from catching hold in your system. And the other thing is, a lot of you have digestive issues. Seems like when you eat, you just don't feel right. Things don't seem to be breaking down, digesting properly. A lot of things that you can do or have to do with maybe some enzymes. Digestive enzymes are very important. Some people have to take enzymes, and we have an enzyme formula. And also, Digestive Key is a great product for just helping you to break the food down, digest it better. These are something I think everybody should take, a digestive enzyme with their food, along with their multiple, of course. You really need a good multiple, and we've got some of the best ones right here at UNI KEY. And also the HCl +2 formula that we have here, hydrochloric acid, pepsin, and it has oxbile in there for digestion, because as we get a little older, a lot of us don't have enough hydrochloric acid production in our stomach. So this is something we've learned over the years, and this isn't new, but when your stomach is a little more acidic, and you don't have as many issues with at least some of these larger parasites, because they can't live as well in that real strong stomach acid. So, when you're eating raw foods and eating things like that haven't been properly cleaned, and there's a lot of things you can do to clean your food, and we can talk about that later on. But it's very important to understand there's a lot you can do to prevent this, and a lot you can do to keep it at bay, and to feel much better, and have a stronger immune system. But anyway, I think I've talked enough about it today, and I just want to stress how important it is to read up on this, to call us if you have any questions, email us. Carol's team or myself would be glad to help as much as we can, or answer your questions. And Carol, what else do we need to talk about that maybe I've missed?
I think you've covered it all. I think we've covered everything there is. If you've got questions, please give us a call at 800-888-4353, or email us at info@unikeyhealth.com, and our team will be more than happy to help you figure out the best solution for you. And I think we've covered the basis, and you can go to unikeyhealth.com and learn more about our colon cleansing kit, which is our Para-Key, Verma Plus, and Flora-Key products. And we'll put a link in the description of this video.
All right. Well, there you have it, folks. And check us out. Check out the information. Check out the testimonials, the reviews on these products that I've mentioned. And go through our site, and we'll send you a catalog if you want something to have, that just to have in your hand, where you can just kind of go through there and read about our products, read about some of our testimonials are in here too, of people, because we always feel like our customers, happy customers, are our best spokespeople. And if something works for you, and if something works for many people, then it's probably going to be something that might help you too. And that's the way I always look at things. And if they can feel better, then maybe you can too. And there's no reason you can't. But maybe has to do with your diet and exercise, and along with using certain products and supporting yourself properly, and try to get your stress levels down, and feel better. I mean, that's what it's all about, is quality of life, feeling well, feeling good, having energy. Just because we're getting older doesn't mean we can't feel like we did when we were 25 or 30 or whatever, whenever it was when you feel like you felt the best. So anyway, thanks for watching. We're going to see you real soon with another video similar to this on some other things. And we just want you to get educated and want you to think about things. And this is James Templeton.
And Carol Templeton.
And we're going to see you next time. You have a wonderful, healthy rest of your day.